Hey guys, welcome to a Can You Relate video with Lottie Michaels. So today I want to do something different. So in the past I've been doing like random videos and so on, but moving forward, I want to do videos about things that you can relate to, experiences that I've been through and I think you guys can relate to, and things that I am going through right now that I think you guys can relate to, and I just want to share a bit, and hopefully it helps somebody out there. And yeah, so today I want to share with you guys a bit about my dating experience. So I've been single for 3 years, almost 4 years, and I don't know, just like recently I thought about going back in the dating life, dating world, whatever you want to call it. And so I jumped on Hinge, an app called Hinge, and to be honest, it's pretty interesting, like what kind of people you meet dating. And I have come across questionable people, and I have come across very nice and humble people. But there was this one person that actually stood out, and I just have to tell the story because I thought if I share my experience, one or two people watching this could relate to it, or they could take away from, and what really to watch out for when you're dating, especially like if you meet online. I hate online dating. I don't even know why I did it, but I just wanted to see how it feels like, because I know a lot of girls that met their partners online and things like that, and things have worked out for them. So I'm like, okay, there's no crime in giving it a try. So yeah, I gave it a try, and I've come to a conclusion that online dating is not for me. Nope, not for me. So yeah, so I'm going to share a bit about my experience with one of the dates that I've been on. And my goodness, the date I went on was so horrible. Like, it's just, I don't know, I just had to like quit online dating altogether. After this person came and left, I had to quit online dating altogether, and I'll tell you why. So here goes the story. I was talking to this guy for let's say 3 days, and some people are pretty good at saying the right things behind the keyboard. So he felt, well, I thought he was interesting too. He felt I was really interesting, and he wanted to meet up with me. So I was like, okay, why not? So the third or fourth day, he texted me saying, hey, what are you doing today? This was around the morning, I think, morning or lunchtime. He texted me saying, hey, what are you up to today after work? So I told him I'm gonna go home, cook dinner, eat, read a book, and just relax. And he's like, okay, that sounds cool. Can I come over for dinner? And I was like, yeah, why not? I could use a company. I mean, I really enjoy my single life. I am so comfortable being single to a point where I don't even know how I'm going to start being in a relationship. But for now, like, my single life is amazing, and I don't think I would ask for anything better. But yeah, if somebody comes along and I feel like we are compatible, I would definitely give dating a try. But for now, we is not dating till further notice. So that afternoon I gave him my address, and I said to come around 6:30, so it would give me time to come home and cook and shower and just prepare myself for the date. So I was like, okay, cool. At 6, wait, he came early. So this guy showed up at I think it was like 6 o'clock, like half an hour early, and I was like, what the heck? So when he called me, and I'm like, you're kidding, right? He's like, I'm downstairs, like, what's happening? And I'm like, you're kidding. And he's like, no, I'm actually downstairs. He had to take like a photo and send it to me, and I was like, oh my god, this guy's not joking. And I was like, okay, I guess there's no point of leaving him downstairs, so he might as well come up and we can have a bit of a chat while I do my cooking and so on, because like I wasn't even ready, yo. My okra was still raw. And so he came upstairs, and as soon as he walked through the door, it's like he's been here before. So he just went to the living room. I was like walking behind him. I was talking, but this guy was too busy just looking around, and I'm like, okay, make yourself at home since you already started looking around. So he went to the living room and kitchen. He was just browsing around, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then he went to the balcony, and he's like, wow, this is a really nice place. Do you live here by yourself? I said, no, I'm sharing with 2 other people. And he's like, wow, it's a really nice place. And because he came in and he was so confident, he was just walking around. However, we had 2 dogs. They were like, they don't like strangers. So even if I have my sisters come over, they just bark crazy. They don't like strangers at all. So he came back inside. That's when he noticed the dogs, and I'm like, this is so weird. He didn't notice the dogs when he came in, but then after he did his look around, that's when he decided to notice the dogs. And he's like, you have dogs? And I'm like, yeah. You didn't see them? He's like, nah, I don't like dogs, I don't care. And I'm like, okay. So the first impression this guy gave me was the fact that he was bossy and rude, point blank rude. And I was like, okay. I brushed it off. Usually I'm so good at like picking out things, but then I just let it go. So he came back inside, and he's like, okay, there's dogs, can you get rid of them? And I was like, what? Can you get rid of the dogs? And I'm like, how the heck am I gonna get rid of the dogs when they live here? He's like, just put them somewhere, I don't care, they're too noisy and I can't even hear myself think. And I'm like, wow. You need to chill. And he's like, and so I took the dogs and put them in my housemate's room, because they were her dogs, so they have like water and extra food in there if I have visitors and they go crazy. So I just put them in there. So I put the dogs away. I asked him to sit down. He sat down, and then we started talking as I was getting dinner ready and so on. And then asked about his day, and he told me about it and so on and so on. And so he came with a bottle of wine, and then he asked for wine glasses, so I gave him 2. And the one he took, he just started scanning it, like to see if there's any dirt on there. And I don't know, he scanned the glass for a while, and he ended up washing it. I don't know what he found on it, but that's his own business. So in a way I don't blame him, because when I go to people's house, I'm very skeptical about eating off the dishes. I guess. And yeah, so I don't blame him in that sense. So so we started talking, and once I was done with my dinner, I sat down, we started, drinking wine. So that's when I like really started to ask him thought-provoking questions. So, and he felt interrogated, and I was like, I'm not interrogating you. Ladies, I'm gonna tell you this: never feel afraid to ask a guy questions you want to ask. If you really like, it'll really open your eyes to see if this guy is really for you or not. Always ask your questions on the first date, and that would determine if you would even have a second date with this guy. Because why would you want to waste your time with somebody who you can't converse with, who you don't really have a lot in common, or let's say somebody you don't see a potential in. So it's very important to ask questions. Like, do not feel bad even if the person feels interrogated. Just reassure them that these are the things that you need to know, and it's important that you know them, so you can determine whether you're going to go on a second date with them or not. Never feel afraid to ask this question, like whatever questions you want to ask them. So anyways, let me put my bottle away. I'm making a lot of noise because I feel violated. Yeah. So after asking him like thought-provoking questions, and he's like, why are you asking so much questions? And I'm like, I really need to know. I really do. He's like, a lot of the girls I go on a date with don't even care about asking questions. They just want to get into it. I'm like, what? I didn't catch that. Get into what? He's like, sex. And I'm like, Lord. Lord. Okay, this is interesting. And I'm like, funny enough, dinner's ready. Do you want to eat? He's like, did you think I came in for dinner? I'm like, yes, that's from our conversation. That's what I recall, like you coming here for dinner. And he's like, girl, I did not come here for dinner. And I'm like, why are you here? So he's like, I just want to see a bit of booty, and yeah, that's pretty much why I'm here. And I'm like, you are not seeing any booty, and you are not gonna go from here with seeing a booty, because this booty ain't for showing. And he's like, okay, I see, you're playing hard to get. I am like, dude, I don't need to play hard to get. So I told this guy, as soon as you walked through that door, the first impression you gave me was the fact that you were rude and bossy. And to be honest, I am that person that speaks my mind. I don't care who you are. I don't care. Even if you're the hottest guy alive, I do not really give a shit, because if you come in with a disgusting behavior, that's exactly what you're gonna go back with. I'm gonna tell you to your face, I don't like your behavior, and point blank, we are not compatible. And I'm not scared to say, like, look, you're not for me. At the end of the day, it's not by force. And if you're going to be the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, I'm going to have to like you. And if you're rude, you're arrogant, I am sorry, we are not going to match. So I told him my mind, and then he's like, okay. And every time he spoke to me, I look him dead in the eyes, and I make sure, like, I had my serious face on. So he's like, your eyes are scary. And I'm like, what do you mean? This is something I do when I am, I'm conversing with you. It's a way of actually showing that I am listening, I'm attentive, and what you're saying is pretty important to me, so I don't miss any details. So I make that consistent eye contact, and yeah, and if you're not comfortable with it, then maybe you're lying to me or something. I'm joking. But yeah, some people would just not cut out for eye contact, but that's fine. I respect that. So he was like, okay, do you want to dance? I said, what? He said, do you want to dance? And I'm like, okay, I don't know how to do white people dance, but I can definitely do African dancing, which you stand very far and I stand in my corner and we just dance from far away. He's like, that's not how Africans dance. And I'm like, you've been watching the wrong Africans, dude. And he's like, no. I know you guys like to shake your bum on guys and so on. And I'm like, not everybody like to shake their bum. Yeah, not everybody likes to shake their bum on guys. And then he's like, okay, that's fine. We can dance. You stand wherever you're standing and I stand here. And we started dancing. So he's like, oh, you're a pretty good dancer. I said, thank you. I wasn't even dancing. I was just, when you move to one side and then you step, touch, step, touch, step, touch. That's basically what I was doing. But he's like, oh, you're a good dancer. And he was just moving out of beat. And I'm like, it's okay. I forgive you. I forgive you. It's okay. And then afterwards, there was this one particular song that came on. I think it was by, what's his name? Is it Rema, one of these Nigerian singers, and he goes, I'm in love with plenty women and so on, and he quite liked that song, and I'm like, okay, fuck boy alert. There are things that are meant to be in my head, but somehow it just comes out. I'm really fighting to control that, but I can't help it. I always speak my mind, and yeah, that's just that. So a few moments later, my housemate and her boyfriend came home and they greeted us, and because they did a bit of shopping, so they were putting things away in the kitchen, and we were just sitting by the dining, and then it got awkward, so they decided to go to their room and we were left alone. So he still wants to dance, and I'm like, I'm tired of dancing, maybe we should do something else, so maybe you can continue telling me more about yourself. So I told him, do you have any questions for me? Is there anything you want to know about me since we're getting to know each other? And he's like, no, I don't have any questions for you. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Well, I have 101 questions for you, and I don't think you're ready to answer that. So yeah, so I'm like, okay, what songs do you like best? And then we started because he said he lived in Africa for 2 years, I think, and then he was telling me things that happened with him and the girls in Africa, and I'm like, I really don't want to know that. That's your business, and I didn't ask for it, so please don't tell me. Unless I asked for it, then that's reasonable. But yeah, and then after a while, he's like, I don't feel comfortable being here. And I was like, why? He's like, well, your housemate and the boyfriend are back home, so it's kind of awkward. Is there somewhere we can go? And I'm like, no, I don't have any place to accommodate you, but the living room, it's a living room for a reason. And then he sat there quiet for a moment, and he just kept looking around, and then he went out for a smoke. I'm like, I'm not quite enjoying this wine, so I came in my room, got a bottle of wine and I took it out and I poured myself some, and I'm like, do you want to try my wine? And he's like, nah, I'll drink my own wine. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, more for me. So yeah, and when he came back from smoking, he's like, I really don't feel comfortable again. And I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do? He was like, I don't know, can we go to your room? And I was like, I do not think that's possible. And he's like, why not? I'm like, first of all, I don't trust you. Second of all, you are rude and aggressive, and I feel like, yeah, you just know, I think I'm more comfortable. I don't feel comfortable with you. I feel more comfortable staying out here in the living room. So he's like, I promise I'm not going to do anything. So he got his bag. I had my door open. So, and then, yeah, so he got his bag, made his way to my room. And when he came in here, and he's like, he looked around and he put his bag down and he started taking his clothes off. He took his shirt off, and I was just looking at him weird. And then he was about to take off his pants, and I was like, whoa, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just getting comfortable. I'm like, okay, why are you getting comfortable in my room? He's like, I don't know. He's like, can we close the door? I said, no, I want to leave the door open. I do not want to close the door. I want to leave the door open. He's like, I don't feel comfortable with the door open. I'm like, I don't feel comfortable with the door closed. And then he proceeded, like, he's about to take off his pants, and I'm like, this is not happening. Not in my room. Hell no. So I told him, this is not happening, not in my room. And he's like, why not? Why are you playing hard to get? I said, I am not playing hard to get. I'm just not interested in you. Point blank. I don't find you attractive, and I think you're just not for me, whether for serious or fun, whether for fun or serious. I do not see me and you happening. And he's like, okay, do you go to church? I said, no, I can't even remember the last time I went to church. And he's like, and I said, how about you? And he's like, I go to church. I go to church, I'm a Christian. And I'm like, okay, that's good for you. And then he's like, all right. So he sat down on my study chair and he put his hand out. He's like, come. I said, no. He said, I am not going to do anything, I promise. He said, just come. I said, no. And then he got up. He came towards me. And then and then he tried to kiss me. I said, not happening. Can you please pick your shirt, put it on, and make your way out of my room immediately? He said, why? I said, because, like I said, I'm not interested in you. He's like, why don't you want to have a bit of fun? And I'm like I said, I am not interested in you, whether fun or serious. It's just not going to happen for me. And then he's like, okay, I see how it is. No problems. And then he got his shirt. He was putting it on. And I'm like, good. I was just watching him. I stood there watching him. And then I don't know what clicked in his head again. He put the shirt down, came towards me. I'm like, if you make one more move, I'm going to scream rape. If you make one more move, I'm going to scream rape. And he's like, wow, you're the first girl ever that has played hard to get with me. And I'm like, okay, that's, I don't see how that should make me, happy. And he's like, well, I just told you anyways. And then he put his shirt on as he's about to leave my room, he's like, "You should go to church." I said, "Why?" He's like, "Your behavior stinks." And I said, "What?" He said, "You're very rude and aggressive." And I said, "What are you talking about? I've been so nice to you. I've been tolerating all your shit since you walked through my door. And you're telling me I've been aggressive and rude?" I'm like, "Leave my house." He said, "I'll go." I said, "Leave my house." And then he's like, "You really want me to go?" I'm like, "No, get the fuck out of my house." Excuse my language. And I opened the door, took him to the lift. He went down. I made sure he went down. So he went down. I came back in, came to my room for a bit. I was a bit tipsy, yeah. Came to my room for a bit, and then I remember I had like I still had my food out. I need to put it in the fridge and so on, because once I'm in my room I just feel like sleeping. So I went back out. My housemate and her boyfriend were out. They're like, "Oh, what happened to your date?" I'm like, "I sent him out." They're like, "Why? He's cute." And I'm like, "I don't give a shit. I don't care how cute he is. I'm just not going to tolerate rudeness and nonsense. It's just not for me. He is not for me." And I'm sure I made it loud and clear that he's not the one for me. He shouldn't call my phone. He should not come anywhere near me. End of story. And they're like, "That's harsh." And I'm like, "You know what? Life is unfair." So came back to my room. I blocked him. And that's that. I haven't heard from him ever. Thank God. And that is it for dating for me for now. So yeah, to be honest, there are a lot of people out there. You just have to find the one that would share the same mindset as you, that would want to like listen to you and progress, not just want to get in your pants on the first date. So ladies, I hope you enjoyed that story. So let's stay gorgeous, let's stay beautiful, let's stay amazing, and let's keep shining. Let's keep empowering each other, most importantly. So, all right, as always, thank you for watching. Ciao for now.